Thanks for tuning in again. Today's video we're going to make an Instapot pot roast. As most of you know that watch my videos know that I do the easiest possible recipe. The last thing I want to do is whip up a recipe that is confusing or hard to follow or too many ingredients. I keep it simple and real, and this will be the best pot roast ever. Okay, first things first, we're going to get this Instapot all warmed up, saute button. And then I'm going to take some extra virgin olive oil, give that a little splash, probably between 2 and 4 tablespoons. Next up, I cut up some garlic. There's probably about 4 good-sized cloves in there. You can do whatever you like. To that, I'll add just a little pinch of salt and a little pinch of pepper. Next up, I have 2 yellow Vidalia onions. So I'm going to take and cut these up in really big slices real quick. Now I like my chunks nice and big because they cook down, so if you want to have a good texture when you eat it later on, keep them nice and big. So I'm going to add all of these to the garlic and olive oil, salt and pepper. And I'm going to saute that for a few minutes. Okay, now while that's sauteing, I'm going to keep working that until it's a light toasted appearance. I'm going to take my piece of meat, which is a beef chuck boneless chuck roast, nice caramelized piece of meat, and I'm going to make my herb mixture that I'm going to dip it in. So my theory on seasoning meat is whatever you like. Make sure you have different colors, different flavors, things that are good for you. I'm going to use this. It's basically an aromatic herbal salt blend. It's got sea salt, fresh herbs, rosemary, garlic, sage, and pepper. So I'm going to put some of that in there. I have this barbecue rub that I like. It has a touch of cherry. That's a favorite of mine. I like thyme. I like tarragon. So I'm just going to sprinkle that in there and make a nice little bath for that meat. Alright, it's time to dunk my roast in this herb mixture here. And I'll just take and smush that down. Flip it. Smush that on there. Mush those spices into it. Give that a little bit of a spin. Now doesn't that look good? So I'll let that hang out for a second and then check on the garlic onion mixture. That is looking good, so I'm going to take that out and dump that into that bowl real quick. There we have it, and now this is empty, so I'm going to give it another splash of extra virgin olive oil. And then I'm going to take my meat, I'm going to just put that in there and I'm going to brown all sides of that. Looking good. Give that a little flip. Meanwhile, while I have my meat over there sauteing, I'm going to make these little packages of carrots, and I have a mixture of little baby potatoes here, multicolored potatoes. So I'm just going to fold these up in neat little packages because we're going to set those in the Instapot separate from the meat so they don't get too mushy with the sauce that I'm going to create. Okay, we'll just set those aside for a moment. I'm going to hold this up and brown this on the edges also. Takes a couple extra moments. Okay, let's take that piece of meat out. Doesn't that look nice and yummy? So now with this, what I'm going to do is just give it a little scrape. Everything eats pretty good in there. So I'm going to add back to that my onions and garlic. I'm going to add 1 can of beef broth. That's probably about 2 cups worth in there. And to that, I'll add 1 cup of red drinking wine, whatever you like to drink. Give that a little mix. Now I have my roast on top of the trivet, so I'm going to take that and just set that right on top of the onions and garlic, right in there. Let that hang out. And then my most favorite ingredient in the world, mushrooms. I have a pallet of portobello mushrooms. So I'll just dump that right on top. And then I'll take my carrots and potatoes and put those right on top, just like that. And then I'm going to take and turn this saute off. I'll put my lid on. Put the seal into seal position. And now I'm going to come over here to the panel. I'm going to go pressure cook, keep warm off. I'm going to crank that up for 1 hour. And that should get rocking real quick because it was in saute mode. So as soon as that reaches its temp, it will pressure cook / steam. There we have it. Now that's going to cook for 1 hour on high pressure. Another reason why I love this Instapot is while I was waiting for that to warm up, check out this kitchen. You notice anything? No mess. Spotless. No dirty dishes. All clean. Oh, what's that? One more dirty dish. I'll take care of that. Okay, 1 hour has passed, so let's just pop the seal here. And my potatoes, carrots. I'll grab the meat out of here. Look at that delicious pot roast with mushrooms on it. Next, I'm going to take the majority of my onions, garlic, and whatever else fell down in here. I'll put that in this bowl. See there? And just set that aside for a moment. Alright, next I have a little bowl with some water in it. And I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of cornstarch in here. And mix that up. Make that into a nice, smooth consistency. Just like that. Here's my cornstarch mixture. I'll pour that in this liquid, and then I'm going to take my turbo zip stick here and I'll give that a mix. And I'm going to put that on saute. Okay, now while that's warming up and coming to a boil, I'm going to take my bowl here. It has my garlic and onions in it. I'm going to take these mushrooms and I'll put these in here. And let's check out what is in here. We have one container with perfectly cooked carrots. Just perfect. So what I'll do is dump all of those into this bowl now. And then my next bowl, let's check out these potatoes. Perfectly cooked potatoes. Look at that. Awesome. Not too mushy, not too firm, just perfect. Okay, I'll set that aside for a second. While I'm waiting for that to boil, it's already starting to come to a little bit of a boil. Okay. Actually, while that's boiling, I'll take and add all of these ingredients and let that just come to a nice Now, while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to cut up my roast beef. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut this into nice cube-sized pieces, not too big, not too small, just like that, and then like this. Now I'm going to add my chunks of roast beef into the mixture as I cut them and let those marry with all those flavors. Alright, so now Notice I cut all the fat and grizzle off my pot roast. And this is just good, clean chunks of meat. I'll mix that in there.
So all the fat is over there, and all the good meat is in there.
And I'll just do this chunk here. I'll just give that another stir. All right, it's been a few minutes. I'll hit the cancel button. And now it's time to plate up. Look at this. Look at that. Delicious, perfectly cooked roast beef, carrots, potatoes, onions, mushrooms. Just spoon over a little bit of the gravy broth mixture. A little bit of cracked pepper. And bon appetit time. Look at that. Perfectly cooked roast carrots, potatoes, onions, mushrooms. Side of pretzel roll warmed up.
Time for taste test. It's delicious.
My turn. This is delicious.
Here goes portobello mushroom and roast beef. Perfect flavors. One last thing. You could have thrown all the ingredients in the Instapot all at once and cooked it all together, but a lot of times your carrots and potatoes get a little mushy, so I separated them in those little tinfoil pouches. I hope you try this. It's really good. It's really easy. In and out in an hour. As you can see, cutting the meat up and adding it all together like that made for easy plating. No fat, no grizzle in our meal. Easy for packing up leftovers. All that and the kitchen's still clean. Thanks for watching.